What up, guys? Well, I've been getting into a lot of smallmouth fishing lately. Well, I've always been into smallmouth fishing, but I've been getting into some really big ones lately. And I thought I'd like to share this with you guys of what I'm catching them off of, where I'm catching them off of, and why it is that I'm catching them like this. Well, first off, I'll show you the main bait that I've been using this year for smallmouth, and I've been having very good luck on. And this isn't like an actual tube. I just kind of like took a really big one, a really big tube, and kind of cut it down. But this is a tube jig, a simple tube jig, mainly with a jig head on it. And they always have a sparkle in them. They tend to work really nice. And what I tend to do is, a lot of people say, you throw upstream. Yes, that is what I do most of the time. But sometimes it isn't a bad idea to throw also downstream because sometimes there's fish that are kind of scrambled around, just kind of waiting for something. They're not always where people tell you to throw at, like upstream or something. Sometimes they're just kind of sitting there and they really don't have the idea in their mind of eating, but just pop it in front of their face and they just get it. But uh, I have caught lots of big fish, very big smallmouth this year. Like one of my smallest smallie this year, like 2 pounds or something like that. And they've been mostly off of these little tube jigs. And I actually just recently caught my PB smallmouth this year, 4.5 pounder. I was using a tube jig, and I was kind of playing with 2 pounders, but I wasn't really like trying to hook them. I was just kind of messing around with them. And so I go, there's slot current over here, and there's fast moving current over here, there's rapids over here, and I threw right in the slot current, right? So I threw it in there. I'm popping the tube jig along. I drug it a little bit, and as soon as I started dragging it, this smallmouth absolutely demolished this tube jig. Um, Actually, it was fighting so hard that when I hooked it, I thought it snagged a muskie. Because it's kind of a common thing to happen. Like, a muskie will be sitting there, you kind of slide the tube jig under him, and the hook will kind of catch. But still, I thought I had a muskie on, and he jumped out of the water, and I saw him, and I was like, "Oh, don't jump again! Don't jump! Stay down." I pulled him up, and it was awesome. He's 4.5 pounds. He's big. He's very big. It was very fun. And my second thing that I've been catching a good amount of like 2 or 3 pound smallies off of this year, just a little crankbait. Now, yes, I know you guys are saying this is a really small crankbait. Literally, like, it's not very big at all. It's actually a panfish crankbait. See that compared to my finger? Yeah, small. But usually when you're smallie fishing with a crankbait, usually they hit smallmouth tend to hit smaller baits than largemouth. Like you see largemouth hitting 9-inch Huddlestons like it's nothing. They just come up and gulp those. It's rare to ever see a smallmouth hit something like that. So I throw these littler crankbaits. They work just fine for me. I catch lots of fish off of them. I haven't ever had a problem with them. This dives like 4 or 5 feet. It's a deep diver. It's pretty deep. Usually I use square bills for them, but sometimes they're sitting down deeper. And another bait I use for them is this is kind of a bigger spinner bait. Usually I use smaller ones. It was just a spinner bait. I catch lots of smallmouth off of spinner baits. I hear about a lot of people tending to say, I don't ever catch smallmouth off of spinner baits. It's just not something that's very common. Well, just about every time I throw one, I hook up with one. I mean, it's not a rare thing. It's kind of common, actually, if you think about it. Like, smallies are always chasing minnows and stuff in the river, and you get one red, it kind of looks like a crawfish at the same time, So it's a good combination to catch some fish. And this is just two, I believe they're Colorado blades. They got little, like, divots in them, see that? Probably for, like, an extra flash or whatever, You got a little head. This actually had a pretty messed up skirt on it, and I found a black and blue skirt. I just kind of smacked it on there, and it works just fine. It works just as good as any other spinnerbait. And last but not least, one of the original baits for just about every type of fish, walleye, northern, anything, simple bait, smack it on a jig head, straight retrieve, bounce, whatever. Just a curly tail grub, just a plain simple curly tail grub. I believe this is like 2.5 inches. And it is the actual Mr. Twister brand. You guys probably can't see that. And I tend to have some good luck on these things too. Throw them out there on a jig head, straight retrieve, bounce, whatever you really want to do, you're fine. I mean, it just works any way you really want it to. I mean, me and my dad catch walleyes off of these all the time. A lot of times we'll catch smallies off of them though too. So that's one of those simple but easy baits. But out of all 4 of these for smallmouth, I'd have to pick a tube, because it represents more than just a crawdad. If you get a smaller kind of tube, like 2.5 inches, you usually don't find them that big, but sometimes you do. You get a smaller kind of like 2.5 inch tube, and you bounce it kind of rapidly, kind of like jerk it along. It looks like a bait fish to those smallmouth. A lot of you guys don't know it. A lot of times when you're using a tube, I mean, yeah, it mainly represents a crawfish. But if you're working it kind of fast, in those smallmouth's mind, that's a little bait fish bouncing around in the rocks. They'll eat it because they think it's a bait fish sometimes. But a lot of times they eat it because it is a crawdad. But sometimes you guys don't notice that they'll eat your tube just because it looks like a bait fish. And then you guys will start throwing crawfish baits, and you guys are like, why aren't I getting any bites? And that's where you guys kind of go wrong. I'm not trying to say anything bad, but sometimes it's just kind of where people mess up. So you got to think about it. When you catch something off of a tube, throw 2 different types of baits after that. Either throw a Rapala or something soft plastics like Kitech or something, or like this that looks like a minnow, or just a crankbait or something. And then throw your stuff like Shaker Craws, and Yum just came out with some sort of crayfish bait. It looks just like a real crayfish, and you just hook it on the back and pop it along, and it does just fine. Or a Rebel Craw or something like that. Start throwing stuff like that. Then you'll really find out what they're munching on, when they're biting, and where they're biting, what time of day, stuff like that. There's certain times, like when I smallmouth fish, I'm mainly on the Susquehanna River. I have a spot that we call the Cannon Hole, and there's a boat that sits right here, and then there's a little point, kind of like, it's a perfect slack current spot. It's all slack current right there. You throw it in there, it's almost every cast you got a fish on. It's fun. I remember going there one day and catching 10 fish in an hour off of a. I don't think I have it with me. I'm an idiot, guys, but it was a curly tail bait, but it had a minnow body, and it was a storm bait, and it came with it like jig head and stuff in it. And I was just throwing that along in there, and these smallmouth were demolishing this bait. I mean, absolutely smacking it, like unnecessarily hard. And they were all like 2-3 pounders, but for a 2-3 pounder, these things were hitting like a pike would hit something, like a bucktail or something. They were hitting rapidly there. They were hitting very hard. And I lost myself here for a second. Oh, okay. And that's kind of how I've been catching smallmouth out of the river, guys. I mean, also, I've found the Senko bite really hot this year too. Like really, they've been hitting hard. But I haven't been catching all largemouth or smallmouth off of them on Senkos. Here's what I've been catching mainly off of Senkos: rock bass, big 11, 12 to 14 inch rock bass. Caught my PB rock bass this year on a Senko up at Ontario. Actually, there was a little canal at Fairhaven Beach. A little canal came in, goes this little runoff lake kind of thing. And I go there and first cast with Senko, get it up to the shore kind of like. I watched the Rocky come up and eat it, and just by the way of how fast and how quick and how competitive he ate it, you could tell there was a school there. There were a lot of other fish there. Every time we cast out, our line was zipping out. And guys, if you're using a jig or a tech or something like that, or a Senko, which is the most prime example, and your line goes out really fast, usually it's because that fish is in competition with other fish. So that means when you get that fish in, you want to get it in as quick as you can, do whatever you're going to do with it, keep it, let it go, whatever, and get back out there. Because there's more than one fish out there. That means you're probably going to catch more. And if they took it out that fast, it's not just because there's other fish out there, but it's because those other fish out there were most likely going for that bait also. And that's about all I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. Keep fishing.